So we're here today with Heidi Johnson of Charity Matters, and she's writing a book called Change for Good, for which she already has a publisher, which is very exciting. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And Heidi's burning question today is basically like, am I doing it right? And I jokingly say, yes, yes, of course you are, because like you can't do life wrong.
Well, you can't do it wrong. Well, I suppose you can do it wrong, but I think
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know, the path is unclear and you're going down uncharted territory.
Yes.
You've never written a book before, you're doing something you've never done before, and you doubt yourself. It's a human instinct, right? To say, should I really be going down this direction? Because I came about this it came to me very quickly and unexpectedly. I wasn't looking to do it necessarily. It came at me, and here I am.
And as I love, Tina Fey, she says, say yes and you'll figure out the rest later,
Yeah,
right? So
true.
everything that happens for you, right? Not
100%.
to you, for
100%.
you, is
Yep.
to help your character and to help you grow and to get you where your soul wants to be in this lifetime,
Right. I
right?
agree with that completely.
Okay. And so you said yes to something that scares, pardon, but I feel like it's something that scares the shit out of you. I
Yeah,
feel like you feel
absolutely.
vulnerable, you feel exposed, you feel seen, you feel like people are going to know some of your dirty laundry. And you're like, wait a
Yep.
minute, I said yes to what? You're like,
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
taking the worst closet in my house and I am opening it up and saying, this is what the disorganized mess looks like in my life.
Yeah, pretty much.
And for somebody who I'm reading just based on your background, right? You are totally organized, right? When I see you in the kitchen, right? If there is a splatter on the counter has to be cleaned before you can move to the next step. Like you
Correct.
are not somebody who handles disruption to your schedule very well. And I feel like this book came in and this opportunity came in and just sort of blew up a hurricane inside your soul. And you've got this like whirling kind of energy fear, right? And let's call it what it is. It's
Right.
rooted in fear.
Yeah.
Anytime that we're overwhelmed and scared, and it's rooted in some childhood, some big fear that we've been sitting on. And this one is, I feel like you were the kid that always, you were the kid that always did everything well so that you never got in trouble. Like you were,
Well, kind of, sort of, not really. I got in a lot of trouble,
yeah, but you hated it
especially in
because
high school. I was in the principal's office every year. I was the early signs of leadership. I was very
yes,
naughty and mischievous.
but I don't think it was from a heart of mischievousness. I feel like it was a heart of creating change and you weren't doing it well because you hadn't learned how to do that yet.
Maybe, yeah. It
But there
wasn't,
was
it was no malintent. It was
no,
just
it was
right.
your heart was in a correct space. It just got done in a way that like pointed attention to you. But there was also a part of you that was like, take your shirt and hide your head and be like, don't look at me while I'm in this principal's office. Like, I know what I was doing was right because my heart was right, but I also don't want anybody to like judge me for being bad because I wasn't doing anything wrong. I'm just saying things that people don't want to hear.
Okay. I don't think, all right. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
maybe. I definitely,
But I
I
also
mean,
feel like
when,
in your house, like 'cause sometimes who you are in school and who you are in your home aren't the same people,
correct.
right?
Right.
And when you were at home, you were like, I am not getting in trouble. I am not getting grounded. I am not going to miss out on Friday night fun. I am not going to miss out on Saturday morning practice, right?
Right.
I am by the book. And then when you would get in trouble, it was because there was some big movement that you felt needed to shift and something was happening that was unfair. And that would come out in a way that would get you in trouble, but it wasn't like you were out of line in a sense. And so I feel like this is bringing up some of that old how do I maneuver in the world, help people make change, be the good kid at the same time call out what's uncomfortable. How do I make the shifts in my own life to create space for the bad girl? Because in reality that's who's coming out a little bit,
Right. Well,
right?
and I think that that's spot on, because I think when you're, um, when for me trying to be really, I believe my purpose here is to be a messenger of service to inspire people to give. But I am not Mother Teresa. I am not Oprah Winfrey. I am not a saint. You know, I've been called a salty sailor meets Catholic schoolgirl. I mean, I am a little bit right. So,
But I just want
so
to
I,
pause on this for a second and say Oprah Winfrey is far from a saint. And I
yeah,
also
I
want to say
know.
Mother Teresa struggled big much with depression and suicidal thoughts.
Oh, who knew? I did not know that.
Yes, like she was just as human as the rest of us,
Right,
right?
right.
And so the fear thing for you,
Is
right?
that soapbox is a big one. It's a
Hmm.
big soapbox, and who am I to be on it, right? Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You're spot on with that. Spot on.
And the truth is, you have so much right to be on quote that soapbox. You have experienced enough life and enough, how do I want to phrase? Because there's a phrase that you said earlier that I'm hooking onto that I don't know if I should be hooking on in this moment. So I'm afraid if I hook onto it and I'm wrong, then I'm gonna like go off in the wrong direction. So I'm trying to be really careful. But you have had a lot of development experience, and by that I mean fundraising experience, right?
Yes.
And they say if you have 10,000 hours in anything, you're considered an expert, and you have your 10,000 hours,
And
right?
then some, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have your hours. It's not like you're, doing development out in the Wild West where you're like, I'm just gonna step in and be like completely out of control and do all these things. Like, no, you know what you're doing and you can completely outline this for people. You know what you're doing, and you are rooted and grounded in your own history, your own mentoring, your own development, your own like books that you've read and conferences you've attended, right? You are
Right.
rooted in truth and experience as you're moving forward with this book.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had 20 years of starting a nonprofit, running nonprofits. But really what I'm trying to share is the journey of becoming a good person. It's called Change for Good because it's not about more about raising money or the bricks and mortars of nonprofit, although that's I've interviewed thousands of these people who've undergone loss and like myself and started a nonprofit out of tragedy and turned it into something beautiful to help people. And I'm sharing those stories to really talk about the evolution of the soul, in your language, the evolution that we go through with loss and why aren't we all trying to change for good? I mean, that's really the thesis of my book is, when we read self-help books, we're trying to get thin, or we're trying to get rich, or we're trying, and at our funeral, no one's going to talk about what we weighed on the scale or how much money's in our bank account, right? They're going to talk about what we did for the world, what we did to make people better. So really, when I'm talking about things, it's talking about really the growth to becoming a good person. And for me, nonprofits and charity and philanthropy is a part of that journey. And the people I've met along the way have all had the similar path. And I'm sharing those stories. And so, but I'm still vulnerable being out there with these what I would call modern day heroes or angels among us. I mean, these are the most remarkable humans in the world that give their life to serve other people,
Right.
and they've taught me remarkable things. So that's it. Fundraising is a little bit of it, but yeah. So that's yeah. I'm running with a tough crowd, right? I'm running with amazing people. It's great. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be okay. It's done. So it's it's birthing. It's coming out October 1st. Like it,
Ooh, it's
there's no
timely.
stopping it. Like it's done. Like it's written and it's showing up. It's showing up.
I feel like, I mean, as we're all aware, writing a book is 10% and marketing is 90%. Like that's the thing. And so I feel like a thought in your head is to use the book to leverage space.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think of a book as a way to make money, and it is, don't get me wrong, you can make money on it. But it's also a way to get yourself in a room that you might not get yourself into the room with. A way of sending it to somebody to get you into a space where you can do even more good.
I mean, that's my hope, is to inspire other people. And so, but writing a book is a little bit like saying you're going to run a marathon. You, when you show up and you run the race, you're like, oh my God, I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. And then you're like, I can't believe I finished the race, even if you're the last person there. And so
Right.
I feel like I finished the race and I did it. And would I love it to be successful? Would I love to inspire more people from it? Would it be fantastic? 100%. Was my goal to make money? And was that all of my intention? Was not about that. My intention was to get the message out. So,
Right.
um,
So that what I'm saying without
is,
saying
is,
it
is correct.
is
It
saying
is
think of
aligned.
it as a book to give away more than
Right.
it is a book, because the more you give a book away, like especially of this kind, the more that you will find that it will open doors for you. Instead of using a business card, think of this book
Right.
as your future business card,
Right.
right? Put your business card in it by all means, right? Like
Right.
like put your data in there. But at the
Right.
same point, like think of it as like when you're on a plane and you hand it to somebody. You
Right.
have no idea where that book is going to go and what door that's going to open.
Right.
Or like just get it in people's hands so that they get to know who Heidi Johnson is, and then they know Heidi Johnson, and then they'll want Heidi Johnson for this other thing that they know Heidi Johnson can handle.
Yeah. I think that sounds right. I think that sounds right.
Because if you're not concerned about how much it makes, but there is a need for it to get out, you need it to get out, right?
Right. I needed to get out. And I hate like putting the universe of money is not a motivator, because my husband's always like, stop saying that. But it but it isn't what wakes me up in the morning. It isn't what drives me. It's not that it wouldn't be wonderful, because the more I have, the more I can give away, and it would be wonderful.
Right.
Um, but that's not what drives me. What drives me is getting the message out.
Yeah. And I also see conferences in your future. Like it's the possibility that like you speak at the conference, and as a part of the sign up, the book is given to them as a part of the sign up for being at the conference,
Interesting.
right? Like you wrote the book on it. Wrote the book that can, about your good character that includes charity, right? There's a development piece in there. So if you're
Right.
right, you use that as like the leverage to get yourself into a development conversation. But in order to be a good developer, to use the term, we're using the term in two ways, right? One, as a developer, that's the name of a person who likes to like raise money in organizations. They're in a development,
Right.
right? So just
Right.
for the listener's point of view, just perspective. But then also, in order to be a good person who raises money, a good developer, you need to be developed. You can't do this without character. People aren't going to trust you if you're a dick, right? Like
Right.
you need to
Right.
be trustworthy. You need to be somebody of your word. You need to be somebody who holds confidential information confidential, right? You need to be a specific developed person. So if you combine the fact that you are bringing the whole package to a development conference, you're bringing the developed person who is developing charity organizations, and then the book is a tag on everybody who signs up. You build it into the price. It's a $220 conference, $20 for the book, but you don't say that,
Right.
right? And then you give them a book when they come in, and you're like, here's a book to follow with me, maybe become a client on how to learn to develop whatever you want to do on the side with that. But like if you get in at conferences, this is something you give everybody who comes in as a chance to develop their character in order to develop their abilities as a developer.
Interesting. Yeah. That's a great idea. I like that.
Um, what else? Yeah, I do. I see you on stages. I see you on like week-long conferences. I see you as being keynote, and once people get to know you and they know who you are, I feel like you're the person that they pay big money to show up to be that person. Because what you're offering isn't just how to develop, but how to develop on the inside too.
Right. And that's the more important message, right? The more
Yeah.
important message is who we become, which is the same thing you're doing too, right? Is how we're evolving, is you're helping people to evolve. And it's a journey that we all walk on this planet, that we all have. And we hope that the changes we're going through are for good. I mean, we're hoping that we are becoming better as a result of whatever we're going through.
I will also say that as part of perspective, right? Like I had a moment in my life where I was like really bitter about the fact that I was going through what would be considered like the trauma of the lifetime, right? I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was like 33. So I went through chemo and did all of that and didn't want to. And then in that process, I was like, I don't want to be doing this. Like, I don't want to be sick. I don't want chemo. I don't want the
Right.
training. I don't want this moment. Like in tarot, it would be the tower moment. I don't want this moment. Like, this is not what I want from my life. And don't even tell me there's going to be something good that comes out of this. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that there's going to be
Right.
something good.
Right.
Did something good come out of it? Well, yeah, all of my life afterwards. Like I
Right.
made
A
the joke with,
rebirth.
yeah, it was a complete rebirth. It was a complete
Right.
overhaul. The foundations of everything got shaken. I was pissed off and bitter about the whole thing. I wanted nothing to do with it. But I will tell you, I would not be here today doing this with you today if I hadn't gone through that moment back then,
Right.
right?
Right. And
I wouldn't have
and
completely shaken up my life completely.
yeah.
And
It
so
yeah, it's how it works.
it's how it works. And every experience we have in life, including this birthing a book, right, for you, is part of that. How does Heidi Johnson get developed into who Heidi Johnson is going to become? Because it's not just this book for you. I see a number of other books down the line for you. I see another, I don't know, maybe three or four. There could be more. But you don't know what they are right now. I know you don't know, right? You have
No.
no idea, and I know that. But as you walk through forward, you're going to have people who are come up to you and say, I love this about you, your talk, your message, your philosophy. I want to know more about that. And as you interact more with people, they're going to ask you a couple of key questions that will unlock the door for the next book. And you will
Very cool.
realize that it's the desire in them to learn more that will create the desire in you to write more. Because you
Wow.
will see that you have the answers within you, and it doesn't come out easily. Like, and then those books, possibly even this book, becomes the topic of the talks.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I've definitely do a lot of public speaking as is with my day job running a nonprofit. And I'm very comfortable public speaking. I have a lot of people would say I like to talk a lot, and it's a good thing. It would be great if I got paid to do it. But so that would be fantastic. And I have to say, when this book came to me unexpectedly, I was interviewing someone for my podcast, for the Charity Matters podcast, and in November, and she said to me, I'm part of this, great publishing group, and they're doing this documentary on 100 inspiring women, which, I think you'd be great for it. And I said, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. It sounds great.
Mhm.
There's no mention of a book. So in the end of December, when I got this contract to be in this documentary, I'm signing the contract and it says that you're writing your own book. And I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, it's like week before Christmas. Wait, what? And then when I talked to the publisher slash documentary people, um, they said, well, yeah, your book is on, service and philanthropy. It should probably come out in October for the season of giving. So that means you have 6 months to write it. I was like, wait, what? So when I say this literally, I mean, it wasn't like I had time to process. I said, oh, sure, that sounds fun. I'd love to be a documentary. And then next thing you know, boom, here I am. So it's been a really fast ride, that I haven't had a lot of time to process because I've just had to do the work to get to
Right.
make the deadline to write the book. And I'm just now starting to process, what does this mean or look like? So it's really interesting that you're saying these things, because it is what I'm thinking about and it is where I would like to be. I could see myself in that space. Um, that would be fun for me,
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
paid to talk. That'd be great. Um, but inspiring people and getting them excited to help people is really like my passion. That's what makes me happy. So if I could do that in any way besides standing on a corner with a sandwich board, and a megaphone, I would be really happy to do it. It's kind of, I'm a communicator, whether it's blog, the podcast, speaking, the book, whatever the outlet. I just feel like I'm supposed to be a messenger, and I don't know why I think that. I think why I'm here.
Right. And we don't we don't know the when of when these things will open the doors for us.
Right.
Right. And if you hadn't said yes to the documentary, right, if you had been like, no, you would have stayed small. But there was a
Right.
part of you that said, I want to be bigger than that. And there was a part of you, I want to say it's the highest self, like the self that knows, like the self that knew what that actually meant, that what you were saying yes to. Like there was a part, because we're all in the universal plane, right? We're all in the same fields. There's like an energetic
Right.
movement, right? So since we're all in the same energy field in a way, right? When our energy field bumps into somebody else's, right? The person who invited you to do the documentary knew that there was a book. There was a part of your highest self
Right.
that knew there was a
I
book.
didn't, but they did.
You didn't, but your highest self was like, this
Right.
is the challenge we need. Say yes.
Right.
Right? And so
Right.
you
Yeah.
said yes, knowing this bit of information. Your highest self was like, we have all this information up here that we're holding. We're so excited
Yeah.
because we want you to have this experience that's going to take this sediment that's hiding around your hips and the sediment that's hiding around in your lower body with all the emotions that you've stuffed down there for so long. And we want to stir that up a little bit because we want that to move. We don't want to stay stagnant. We want that to move and we want the energy in here to shift so that we can get bigger.
Yeah. Well, that sounds right. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. And, there's a push pull, I think, because you don't want to enter anything, um, setting a negative you don't want to say,
Mm.
oh, this new job's going to be horrible. You want to say, this is going to be the best job ever. And you want to say the same thing about your book, like, I'm going to be a New York Times bestseller. Like, you want to create something, but then you also want to be realistic and be like, hey, I did this. And that was like my goal, was initially to do it. So I'm trying to find that mental place to put a
Mm.
mindset on what to focus on. Does that make sense?
Yes, you don't want to move the goalposts. Do you need me to explain that?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So a goalpost is supposed to be firm in the ground. Imagine a football field. It's not moving. You know where you're headed, right?
Right.
Often when we get close to the goalpost, we move it further away. And so we don't celebrate the win. We
Right.
just make it harder on ourselves. So
Right.
when this book comes out, I want you to throw a giant ass party in your house. I want it catered. I want like alcohol. I want people coming in. I want the street loaded with people, right? And everybody who walks in, invite them the opportunity to buy your book.
Okay.
Okay. Because you're
Okay.
all right. So Now, what that means is you may create a landing page for them, and then you get their data, their email address and their phone number, right? But these are people you know, so you probably may already have
Right.
their email address and their phone number.
Right.
I mean, you might do some shooting out and be like, launching a book and invite some people you don't know, right? Maybe you invite your town mayor. Maybe you invite, right? You invite other people who are in the development community that you haven't met yet, who are like head of development for, I don't know, a hospital, or head of development for a woman's organization or a domestic violence shelter, or other people that you haven't met yet who are on your list of, I want to know these people, right? You invite them to
Right.
your house the night of the party. And then you say, here's my book. You can download it now for like 99 cents or whatever it's being sold for,
Right.
right? And then you have them buy it. You can say, listen, I'll get you a cheaper version or a copy, or I'll get you my copy, right? Somehow collect their data. You get their email, you get their phone number, you get their, right? When they come through the door, they give you their data, right? They buy the book right there at the door, basically. Be like, welcome, I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for buying my book. They're like, wait, I didn't realize I was buying the book, right? And then you're like, no, no, like buy the book. Like this is part of the party, right? And you're
Right.
like, here, have some hors d'oeuvres. It's catered, right? Have an alcohol cocktail that's made specifically for change for good, right? Ask your bartender to be like, what's an alcohol drink that's change for good? Like what do you put in that? And have them make a signature drink for the evening, right? And then
Okay.
you
You're
blow.
speaking my language, by the way.
And the funny thing is I don't drink. Like you blow this up, right? In your house, you have this huge party. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have it like catered at a ballroom if you want to get that big, right? But you have it like, this is the goalpost, was to write the book. And you're going to celebrate the win. You're also planting seeds for people to know that you are in development and you're in character development.
Okay.
Okay. In your community,
Right.
right? And you're also planting seeds in the universe, because the more good feelings you create, the more you're putting that out there in the universe, the more the universe will bring good feelings to you. So you're seeding parties to celebrate wins.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
I like that. I can do that. I can definitely throw a party.
And so you're going to throw a book launch party. And then from there, you might like, your book will get out. People will know that you did this thing, and it'll also like create some marketing for you. And you might sell 200 books in one night if you have 200 people apart, or like attend the party.
Right. Okay. All right. And I'm inviting the press.
And you're inviting the
our
press.
local media.
Yes, invite your local media. Absolutely. They're
Right.
always looking for feel good stories,
Right.
right? And
Right.
you're gonna invite. It'd be really funny if you like invite your biggest rivals too, where you're like, that person drives me nuts in development. Like they drive me nuts, and just like I'm gonna
Yeah,
have them
think about
over.
it. Who
Like
that is. I don't
like
know who that
I'm
is.
gonna invite that person, and they might play, maybe be a person that gets under your skin. You're like, but like this is a day of celebrating, and I'm gonna celebrate everybody, because everybody helps me
Okay.
grow.
Okay. All right. I'm
Okay.
in.
All right.
I'm having a party.
And then the morning after the party, this
Mm.
is what I knew there was something else, but I couldn't think of
Mm.
what it was. The morning after the party, that's when you make a new goalpost.
Oh, and when you say new goalpost,
Hmm.
are you saying closer or farther? Are you saying that I use that party to judge where the goalpost goes?
No, I'm saying you celebrate the win. The win was getting the
Right.
book and
It was
birthing the
getting it
book,
done. Right.
getting it done, right?
Right.
Once it's an actual book in your hands, you're having
Right.
a party to celebrate that win. And
Right.
then you're going to be like, where are we going next? So the next morning after the
Okay.
party, when the hangover is a little dissipated,
Right.
right? You then sit down at the kitchen table and you're like, I have a book now. What am I going to build with this asset?
Got
And
it.
you create a new goalpost.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I do think, everything we do leads to the next thing, right? It's
Yes.
just the way life is, right?
Yeah,
Everything
exactly.
when I started a nonprofit, which I wasn't planning on doing, I ended up starting Charity Matters to find other nonprofit founders. And once I did that, then all of a sudden it became about a podcast. And then after the podcast, like it just keeps, now it's a book. And like, it's just, everything is a building block. And so I definitely have thought about that, that this feels like a building block.
Yep.
I don't, you know, it wasn't like I'm going to become, you know, whatever, some famous author or whatever. I was like, this feels like a stepping stone in the direction I'm supposed to be going. When it came at me unexpectedly, and I was like, wait, what? But I thought this feels like the right step. But then it's like, when I say my burning question is, what is the path going forward? And is this the right path? The book felt like a step, but the step after that, because I just finished the book, is like,
Well, you're not
right?
done yet. You have to finish your final edits. You don't actually have the book
No,
in your
no,
hand. It's not completely
correct.
done yet, right?
Correct.
Right? You might
Correct.
be
I'm
thinking
in the
about
middle of that right now.
where does the path go? Where does the path turn? Like where is it
Right.
coming? But at this
Right.
point, you don't need to step out at all until you actually have that book in your hand.
Right.
Until there's an actual like ISBN number or whatever you want to call it,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Whatever those
Like
things are.
or
Right.
whatever Ingram number or whatever number
Right. Right. Right.
that
Right.
like people can go and purchase it, right?
Right.
So is it good to look ahead to see where you're going? Absolutely. Do you need to know what's on that path right now? No, not yet. But is it okay to start like putting out feelers to be like, can I come and speak at this conference that you're holding?
Right.
Right? Like if you right now were to think, what is the development conference that lights me up every year and I wish I could go? Right? And then I want you to challenge you and say, I want you to go on that website in the next month and a half, and I want you to download their form, and I want you to fill it out, and I want you to ask to be a speaker.
Okay.
And you get to
I like
use
that.
this book as a reason for why you are qualified to do it.
Great. I like that.
And that doesn't mean I'm changing your goalpost. Your goalpost is still there. We are celebrating the book. You got the book done. Woohoo. That doesn't mean that right? But
Right.
like, how do you start planning? And you don't need to plan the day, like, let's get the celebration in, and then let's start planning what comes. But if you and your I need a plan sense are like, well, I'm going to put out feelers, go right ahead. Like, that's okay.
Right.
But don't
Right.
move this goalpost,
Okay.
right? Don't be
Got
like,
it.
well, I got denied from that conference. And so do I really get a party? Well, yeah, because the party's about the book,
Right.
right? So
Right.
stay focused on like why we're celebrating, and that is you made a plan and you accomplished the plan. Don't move the goalpost.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I got it. That's
Excellent.
it. This is good. This is good. This this is attainable. This is focused. This is super aligned. This feels good, doable,
Excellent.
and great, which is
That's
really great.
that's what I'm here for.
What a gift. That's a gift. It
Oh,
really is.
thank you.
It is. Truly. Thank you.